let's talk about common intrusive thoughts. I'm going to read them directly from my book so that you can see if any of these apply to you or if you've had any of them, and then we'll talk about what the heck to do with them. So, 90% of the population has intrusive thoughts. Common intrusive thoughts include that you will embarrass yourself, that you will harm your baby or a child, that you're gay, that you will stop loving God, that you will do something violent, that you will do something illegal, that you will catch a serious illness, that you will cut off a finger, that you will slit a throat, that you will drive into a window, that you will swerve into oncoming traffic, that you will fatally push a stranger or a friend in front of a car or train, that you will insult an authority figure or family member, that you will accidentally leave the stove on, that you will fart in public, that you will swear in public, that you will expose yourself, that you will engage in a disgusting sex act, that people are looking at you, that your children are better off without you, that people are laughing at you, that people are staring at you, that no one loves you, that you are a bad person, and any thought that is incest related. And of course, my favorite, which is the general, which is that you're going to lose control in public and go crazy. All right, so what the heck do we do about this? So this is, I want to say page 39 for my book, but it depends if you get the Kindle version or not. So avoid pushing these thoughts away when they come, accept that yes, you may do that, because accepting that you may do something is just part of being an adult. One of the things with anxiety, specifically health anxiety, is that you spend an awful lot of time trying to get reassurance for things. You want a 100% guarantee that nothing will happen to you, that nothing is wrong with you, and that you are normal, and that does not exist. It doesn't exist for anything. So you need to get okay with that. It's a part of being an adult and part of being a human is that you are okay with that things could happen, that bad things could happen, that you could get hurt, that you could get sick. But you also have to accept the possibility that you could not get hurt, that you could not get sick, and that you could not do something bad. So both are possibilities. So one of the ways that you can get used to accepting this is by saying, there's a possibility that I might do that. There's also a possibility that I might not. Get used to being unsure, which means you have to just kind of, as things come up, you have to deal with, yes, I may get this illness. Yes, I may not. Yes, I may freak out in public. Yes, I may not. Odds for both. So that's one part of it. There's quite a few parts to this when it comes to intrusive thoughts. And intrusive thoughts being thoughts that just won't leave your head. Like it comes in your head and it just will not get out. And I've done another video on it as well. So another thing, so in your head, everyone has an anxiety monster. And this anxiety monster all day long is giving you commands on what to do. Depending on whether you have OCD or health anxiety, it depends on what the anxiety monster will say to you, right? So if you're dealing with health anxiety, then all day long, your anxiety monster is going to be like, oh, you should check that mole again. You should check that lump. You should see if it changed. You should call such and such and see if for sure. You should Google that and make sure you don't have it. You should set another appointment with the doctor. You should go to another doctor because that first doctor, he didn't know what he was talking about. So all day long, your anxiety monster is trying to get you to, I guess, do what it wants, right? It's trying to control you. And so one of the things you have to do in order to weaken the power of the anxiety monster is to do the opposite or do it later. You don't want to fight with it. If you fight with it and say, oh, I'm going to, no, I'm not checking it now. That creates such an amount of tension in it. Just say, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Therefore, like an adult, you're taking yourself out of the fight. So every time you fight, so I guess I'm bringing that up because every time when it comes to intrusive thoughts, your anxiety monster is shoving these thoughts in your head going, you might do this, you might do this, you might do this, think about this, think about this, think about this. And you're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to think about this. I'm not doing that. I'll think about it later. I'll deal with it later. I'll think about it later. Yes, I may do that. Yes, I may not do that. I'll think about it later. At 4 o'clock, between 4 and 4:15, that's when I'm going to sit down. I'm going to deal with all these intrusive thoughts. Not right now. Right now, I have to do this. Okay, so it's not, that way you're not battling it. You're acting as if you're the adult and you're taking yourself out of the fight. Now, a couple things is that an intrusive thought, anything you're ashamed of, because when I had my intrusive thought, I wouldn't tell anyone either. I was so ashamed and so afraid that I had it, that people would think I was a criminal, that people would think I was crazy. And if you tell someone, it weakens the power of the thought. Now, be cognizant of who you tell, okay? So tell a therapist, tell someone that's not going to judge you. So just to get that, because it just weakens the power it has on you. And remember, this is not an overnight fix. Humans have like 200 million thoughts that go through their heads every day. And so people with an intrusive thought have grabbed on hold onto one that goes so contrary to their nature that it's stuck out in their head, and that they immediately were filled with fear and gross feelings and yuckiness. So they grabbed onto it and they latched onto it because it was so appalling to them. That's how an intrusive thought gets in there. All right, so these are things that it's not an easy fix, it's not an overnight fix, but doing these steps can help you. Another thing that you can do, but I worry about this because it borders on reassurance, is you can have a list of all the reasons that you wouldn't do that, or that you wouldn't have that, or that you wouldn't get sick from that, or that you wouldn't die from that, and refer to your list, because I saw the doctor and he said no, because this and this and this. So whatever reasons you have, because the odds of me doing that are very low. But at the same time, that also works kind of like fighting and kind of like reassurance searching, which makes anxiety greater. Every time you search for reassurance, like every time you Google something, every time you want to feel better, so you ask your partner about it, you ask your friends about it. Anytime you search for reassurance, you're just strengthening the anxiety. So just keep that in mind. This is stuff, same with the book I wrote, is you read 1 page a day, right? And a lot of it is knowledge that you need to know. These are things you need to know. That doesn't mean that it's an overnight fix. It means that once you're armed with these tools, you'll know what you're dealing with. There's not this confusion of, how do I break this? How do I deal with this? No, you'll know. And so watch these videos and just hopefully some of this information helps. I do respond to the comments down below. So if you want to write a comment or you need some help or something, just let me know and reach out and we'll see what we can do. Keep in mind though that I'm a coach, I'm not a doctor. I have no medical training. I do have a degree, but it's not in anything science related or medical related or nurse practitioner related or therapy related. It's in psychology, and I have training in coaching. So anyway, I'm just someone who suffered from anxiety for like decades. Okay, so if you have any other questions or anything, leave it in the comments, and maybe I'll do a video on it and I'll respond to your comment. Take care. Can you say please like and subscribe?
Please like do right.
And hit the bell for notifications.
Hit bell, you know, notification.